It feels like it's going to be a cold one tonight, but you can't go wrong with these views. Hey, what's up guys? I'm just making my way through the mountains here with just over 13 pounds of base gear, and that's not including the snowshoes that I currently have up top here. The goal today is to make it up to a snowy mountain top. That being said, before the conditions of the snow get too soft. So the goal today is just travel fast, move lightly, and see what the day brings. Hope you guys enjoy. Very slow moving terrain. I'm gonna stop filming for a bit. I really gotta keep my focus. Just to give you guys a quick update, I veered off the original trail that I was trying to follow here. So I gotta cross. I basically should be on the other side of the waterfall here. So I gotta find a way that's safe below where I can cross. What do you think? Maybe? So I made it safely across. I took my time and just waited till I found the most narrow point where I had good footing, and even if I fell, it wouldn't be putting me in a dangerous scenario. When it comes to fast flowing water, never take any risks. It's never worth it. Even if it's gonna slow things down, you may not make it to where you wanna go. If these things are gonna get in your way, never let your ego get a hold of you, and always put safety first. This route I'm going, and most of this is unavoidable, but it's just all this horrible micro terrain. And I got to a point where I was at these bluffs, and when I'm by myself, I try to mitigate risk as much as possible. This did unfortunately add some more time, but as I said, always safety first. I made the right move to turn around, even though going that direction would add up with the trail anyways. Always better to take the safer route. We're moving through that terrain where it's not quite good enough for micro spikes yet, as you're going back and forth between forest trail as well as patches of snow. So we got to get up this steep bit here. Gonna have to dig in with the micro spikes and get behind that ridge up there, and all the way up there is the summit. If you look over here, there's been 2 avalanches. You can see all the loose snow at the bottom. Looks like it broke off the cornice there. It's a very large cornice on that ridge, so you got to stay very far back from that cornice. There's always the risk, if you're too close, you can fall right through. So I had to make a slight adjustment to my plan. I'm just about 100 meters from the true summit I was trying to make it up to. But there was a really steep section, and trying to make it up there in the micro spikes was proving a bit tricky. There is a little bit of a safety risk because I think I could have made it up. However, coming back down in the morning, it could be more icy, and I think crampons would have been the better choice. I actually ran into another group of people coming up this way, and some of them had crampons, but a few of them had micro spikes, and a couple of them that had micro spikes had also turned back. So I think I made the right choice, and especially because I'm alone and I'm by myself, it's always good to play it safe. Otherwise, I'm gonna call this home for the night. I've got a beautiful spot right here, beautiful views, and I'm more than happy to spend the night here. So as you can see here, I'm digging a little snow trench, and the plan for the night, I'm gonna set up my sleeping pad, set up my sleeping bag with an emergency bivy, and gonna call that home for the night. And we should have some amazing views. So as you can see, I've dug a little ditch at the foot of my trench here. And what that's gonna do is when I sleep, all the cold air is gonna sink into here, effectively keeping me warmer on the more platformed section up here. So as far as my sleep system, I'm going to wait to set things up more towards evening. Now regarding my sleeping pad and whatnot, I am going to anchor them down as it is really windy, as you can see. But just for a peace of mind, I don't have to think about it right now until I have to go to bed. So more towards evening time when I'm getting settled in, I'll be setting the things up for the night. So I wanted to talk a little bit about my lightweight, more towards ultralight setup this trip. As I was saying, just over 13 pounds of gear. For my stove, I got the MSR Pocket Rocket 2, which is a nice lightweight choice. And for my cook set, I got the Snow Peak Titanium cook set here. I really like this rocky little outcrop area for my cook station, and I really like this spot overall. I really did want to make it to the peak tonight, but this is beautiful. Got views all around. For dinner this evening, lasagna. Can never go wrong with pasta, especially in the mountains. You're expending a lot of energy. I always love a good pasta out here. Unfortunately, I lost my water bottle, so for this lightweight trip, I brought a smart water bottle, which I bought at the store. It weighs as low as 35 grams when it's empty. I put it down somewhere, I think. I took it out. I must have misplaced it. I don't know what happened to it. It's unfortunate. Not the end of the world. I still have this pot to melt snow for drinking water. The only issue is, with these pots, when you're boiling snow, it's good to put a little bit of water in the bottom of the pot before you put the snow in. It helps it melt better, but also prevents you from burning the bottom of your pot. You can easily scorch the bottom if you're putting dry snow in there without water. So for the last batch of water that I boiled for the camp meal, what I did is I saved just about an inch of water inside the pot. So for the second round of melting snow, I had that bit of water there so I could add the snow and not have to scorch the bottom of the pot and keep things running smoothly for the coffee I'm making right here. Long overdue time for a coffee. I was going through a tough decision just recently because now that it's later in the day, the path that was really hard packed earlier is actually now a lot softer. So with the micro spikes, I could get up that section. But the tough part is that it's going to add about 45 minutes of time, and as tempting as that is, I have to have the discipline to say no, and it's good to have the discipline to know when to say no. Because as tempting as it is, I know that's going to take away from time that I need to put towards making camp tonight, and it's just not good to push the time limit. So as you can see, I'm building a little bit of a barrier here, a little bit of a retaining wall. Now there's pros and cons to a location like this. The good thing is we are up on this knoll, which serves us well. Is for the cons, we are in a bit of a valley and cold winds come funneling from the mountaintops and through the valley during the night. I've already experienced a little bit of biting cold winds, so just setting up a little bit of extra protection to get us safely through the night. This is the first part of my sleep system here. Got this Neolite pad. And one thing to be very cautious of when we're in these high windy alpine environments, something like this can fly away if you're not careful. And I'm gonna put down some anchors to keep it in place. But in the meantime, if I'm stepping away for even a second, I'm lucky as I have some rocks here. So I can take the rock, I'm gonna keep it in the bag just because I don't want to damage my air pad. And if I step away for a second to the very minimum, I can have that to weigh it down. The last thing you want is half your sleep system flying away when you step away for a moment. I don't know if you can see here, but what I'm doing just as a precaution, I got a couple winter pegs with a guy line and I'm strapping that across the middle of my sleeping pad just to have that extra bit of precaution so it doesn't fly away, and it kind of keeps it in place, but also giving it a little bit of maneuverability as well. So for the next part of the sleep system here, got the -9 degrees Celsius down sleeping bag. When it comes to these kind of elevations, a good sleep system is something not to take for granted. And for the next part of the sleep system here, we got this SOL emergency escape light bivy, which effectively should at least add 5 degrees to this sleep system. That being said, it doesn't replace insulation, but it definitely helps with reflecting heat. Last but not least, this lightweight pillow. I will be anchoring the pillow momentarily, but just stuffing it in my sleeping bag for now. So as for this pillow, this is something that's flimsy, it can easily fly away. So what I did is I actually attached an anchor to this guy line, so in case it catches wind by accident, that's not going anywhere. So I'm all settled into my sleep system here, just watching a gorgeous view, and this is actually very comfortable. I'm super warm and I'm feeling very confident I'm gonna have a good night's sleep. So just wrapping up the day here, I'm really enjoying this moment right now, and just thinking to earlier, not ascending the peak, I think everything is meant to happen for a reason. I think that extra hour of approximately maybe 45 minutes going up and down, I was able to put that much more focus into the camp here tonight, and it just gave me that much more time to do the things I wanted to do. So sometimes when we have these setbacks, often they're a blessing in disguise. One final cup of coffee for the night. Unfortunately, I've ran out of fuel right before I was able to get my cup of coffee. I bought this brand new before I left, and I don't feel I made that many boils with this. I didn't melt too much snow either, but I guess possibly the new stove as well, when I had it on high, maybe burns more than usual, as this is a highly effective stove. Otherwise, no coffee this morning, but at the very least, I got some water to drink before I head back down. Otherwise, I had a really good sleep last night. It was one of those nights I was looking at the stars till pretty late and it was hard to shut off, but in a good kind of way. The wind wasn't too bad last night. It was actually perfect. One of the best views I've gone to sleep to in a long time. So I'm all finished the journey. The trip went pretty well, minus a few hiccups. I didn't anticipate I would need crampons for that last section getting up to the peak. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see the peak. I figured at that time of day, the snow would have been a lot softer and I would have been able to make it up with just my spikes, but you got to expect the unexpected in the wilderness sometimes. That being said, this video wasn't so much about mountaineering, but more about sharing my experience working with kind of towards an ultralight setup in a snowy mountain setting. And everything happens for a reason, and I'm actually grateful I didn't go to the summit, because that would have added about an hour of time, and I actually got to really put a good amount of focus into building a great camp on that spot last night, and that view was amazing. I was a little disappointed that I lost my water bottle. I brought one of those smart water bottles, as I was saying, and the thing about those, they're really slippery, and having it in the backpack I have in that sleeve pocket, it was asking for trouble. I should have kept it in my backpack in hindsight, but lesson learned, these things happen. The other thing that kind of shocked me is how quick the fuel can went. So I bought a full fuel can on the way to this trip, and there's so many times I bring 2 fuel cans, I never ever get through the first one, and the one time I bring a single one, it goes just like that. And I know melting snow does use a lot more fuel, but basically what you saw in that video was what I use for fuel, and I'm so surprised how quick that fuel went. I had my stove setting on low for the most part, so I guess it just ran out a lot quicker than I expected, surprisingly, and I think from here on in, I'm gonna go back to having an extra spare can at least. I was just so focused on saving weight, and again, we learn what works and what doesn't work, so the next time we could be that much better when we come out to the backcountry. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and any likes, comments, or subscriptions, or all of the above is greatly appreciated. Thanks for watching, and until next time.